Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Group Chat. We got a special interview today. Who do we got, Dee?
We have Kevin McCoy.
What's he up to?
You're not going to believe what he did.
Okay, I like that.
He created
the
first ever...
Just stop. Yeah. That's how you hype an interview.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. We got a guest, and it's very interesting. And I'll just give a clue. It's in. We're talking NFT space.
It's the most relevant thing in the world right now.
There you go. Fair enough. You judge what that is. And then we have a lot to talk about. I mean, I think the biggest IPO of our world, of pop culture world, maybe in the last 5 years.
Pop IPO.
We got a pop IPO to talk about. We got a really, really rich guy to talk about. And then we have another rich guy, actually, I'll just say it, old Zuckerberg, who we're going to have a little chat about. I mean, we got Q3 earnings from Facebook. So we're going to talk about that, as well as just like the situation that Zucks is in. And, there's some challenges. And how do you get out of that?
And I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you too rich to make your own pancakes? What's the barometer?
We want to know. Because we have an idea today of about where the line is between making your own pancakes and not having to anymore. But we're just curious for everyone else out there if maybe you've reached that pinnacle of success.
Yep.
Okay. There you have it. We're going to end with As Seen on Social with our favorite moments from social media. Who's ready to get into it?
Woo!
Woo! Group chat.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, Group Chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest today in the spirit of all the excitement happening in the NFT world, and obviously in anticipation of basically the Super Bowl of NFTs next week in New York. We have Kevin McCoy here, who's an associate professor in the Department of Art in NYU. But more importantly, you were involved in the first NFT ever. Is that right?
I made the first NFT ever.
Holy shit. Yeah. And you made it in 2014.
2014. That's
so
right.
Are you a trillionaire?
Are you Satoshi? Do we have Satoshi on?
Well, you can't be an expert in everything, and making money seems to be not my specialty. But no, it's been it's been good. Yeah, for me so I'm an artist. I'm New York City artist, and have been here for a long time. And, doing work, always from a kind of technology perspective, and that's like software and video installations and even like kinetic robotics, things like that. That's what I teach at NYU, and that's what I do in my studio. And, and there's a whole community of people here, doing that kind of stuff. And so for me, I kind of, first found out about Bitcoin back in 2012. Kind of from posts on Slashdot back in the day and things like that. And at that time, back then, the whole scene lived on this one forum, Bitcoin Talk forum, that was the place, and it was just this kind of, at the time, which seemed like this huge kind of sprawling, scene of people just talking about, everything was about Bitcoin then. And, but still at the kind of like speculative side, philosophical side, political side, whatever. It was just kind of a, sprawling place, and it was really, really exciting. So I, got a minor in, super early kind of minor thing, tried that out, was trying trading, all this stuff. It was just super primitive and really experimental. And the thing that was always amazing to me, so I'm an artist, I'm working digitally, unless you make an object, a thing, and, to sell, you can't really participate in the art market, back in the day, right? And so for me, what I saw in Bitcoin and in, the whole like classic Satoshi white paper and Satoshi's, kind of idea was this weird kind of impossibility, this like alchemy that the information was everywhere, the blockchain was everywhere, yet there still was things that were held back, that were secret. It was ubiquitous and it was scarce at the same time, magically through the kind of system that he put together. And that was just really pretty interesting to me. And so for me, given that, that existed, for Bitcoin and for cryptocurrency, for me, that said that there was something there for digital artists too, because digital artists just had to kind of, it was the height of open source, height of, kind of open culture and Creative Commons and all that stuff. And it was just about giving it all away, which is cool. But, it's like you want there to be an alternative. You want there to be some choice involved in it. So for me, seeing that Bitcoin could be all out there, but also held kind of privately, personally in your wallet, meant that there was a way that you could do the same thing for images and for digital art. And that's what got me kind of thinking about how could that happen. And so in 2013, kind of second half of 2013, I really started kind of thinking about that. Kind of posting about that on the Bitcoin Talk forum, reaching out to my kind of digital art community here. With people, we're not startup people. We're not, and we're not developers. We're kind of tech-based artists. especially then. And so I didn't have a lot of resources to go to. I didn't really know kind of where to turn. I didn't know what a deck was. I didn't know what let's get on a call. What does that mean? In all that kind of sense. And so, but eventually all that kind of research culminated in this event here in New York at the New Museum, hosted by a great digital art organization here called Rhizome. And they knew I was working on this system. And so I arrived and was paired up with this great guy, Anil Dash. And I said, hey, we're going to present how to own digital art with a blockchain. And he said, that sounds cool. And I showed him how it worked. And then he and I built a quick tool that now kind of would be sort of like a minting tool, and presented the idea to a very confused audience back then that had no idea what we were talking about. But it's the first NFTs, and the NFTs that I made then are the first NFTs.
And so when right after that moment, what did you think that this was going to change digital art and preserving the scarcity of art? Or were you just kind of like, this is cool, but...
Can we just rewind 1 second?
Yeah.
Because 2014, Ethereum didn't launch until 2016. So now all the NFTs are on ERC20. So where did you build it on in 2014?
Namecoin.
Okay.
Namecoin. Yeah. So Namecoin's the first fork of Bitcoin. And it was the first attempt to figure out a different use case other than payments. And so they had this idea that you could attach metadata onto the blockchain. And so that was my key. And there was some other kind of projects that I saw in different domains that people were kind of experimenting with Namecoin. And so for me, I thought, okay, that's what I can do. And I came up with this sort of model, this kind of data model that's still largely how NFTs work today, kind of outside file reference and, some kind of identity statements and things like that. And then I included this contractual language all in this kind of little metadata field that pointed to the file, pointed to the hash of the file, pointed to a, kind of publication post on Twitter that sort of authenticated it, and then had language that, that said, that talked about ownership, that this is ownership of the media. And all those pieces came together. And that was, and that was it. People didn't understand, but to your question, I knew it was a big deal. To me, it's like, I'm a blockchain true believer, and it's like these things matter, and digital ownership matters, and it's now possible in a way that it wasn't before, and so, the fact that this could happen with media, with images, seemed like a big thing to me. But obviously it was like, it was just this kind of like flash in the dark, it needed a lot of tools. It needed everything. There was nothing, just this kind of notion that was out there and this kind of simple little web page that we were able to put together. And then it's like, okay, now what do you do? So it was a challenging moment.
And so years go by, and I had heard the word NFT before all this craze, but like I didn't know what the hell it was or what the use cases would potentially be. What in the last like is it really 6 months, 12 months was like the catalyst to see what we've just seen?
Oh, you mean like what broke it open? What broke it worldwide? Well, it's like full props to the Ethereum community, for they really, got to the same idea, a couple of years later, and they, were really focused on, not just community. I mean, they do a great job with community, but also with the stack, thinking in a full stack way, and everybody kind of targeting different layers of the stack and targeting, interoperability, all that kind of stuff. So we're really seeing the rewards of that right now, And so for me, and I obviously have been following along. So I made I started this company called Monograph that in 2014, 2015, 2016 was trying to promote this idea. We did some stuff on Bitcoin, but it was a startup. We didn't have money, and it eventually just kind of stalled out. And I was then kind of focused on other things. It's kind of was a little burned out. On the idea, and then during that time, of course, the Ethereum community discovers that idea and really runs with it. And so, the reason that it's, well, who knows why it's happening now, but the Ethereum community is stuck with it, and they've build. And, the success of DeFi, people with money on DeFi, this kind of interoperability thing, it really started to kind of pick up momentum. But, the truth of the matter is that the whole scene is can be divided into pre-Beeple and post-Beeple, and the Beeple Christie's thing was just the, shot heard around the world.
Yeah. And do you think you make a good point. There was so much wealth created in crypto in the last kind of 12 to 18 months. And what happens when you get rich? You want to show off, right? And there wasn't the digital way to show off yet until NFTs came along. Because if you're living in this, a lot of the crypto people I meet, they're a little off the beaten path in terms of their integration into society. So
totally.
So I now coming full circle over the last couple of weeks, I had a lot of interesting guests. It really is to me luxury for this community. No matter in what stratus of life you are, you become rich, you spend money. That's just what you do, and you show off your wealth. And NFTs became, the yacht, the plane, the Louis Vuitton of this world. So people started buying CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Yacht Clubs as really a status sign. And if you made your money digitally, why not? Why not spend it there too? Do you think that's fair?
I do. Yeah, I totally think that's fair. Yeah, absolutely. And they want to do it, their way. They want to do it kind of with their own, their own thing, their own people, their own styles, things like that. So, I came from, I'm in the art world, the kind of capital A New York art world, museums, galleries, that kind of thing. And so for me, it's cool that the idea came from that world, that's where it hit first, me, an artist at an art museum. Here's this world-changing idea. So I'm happy about that. But the explosion, the real stuff, the stuff that's actually, just totally, getting everyone's attention is this super native crypto native thing, with it, like I say, its own styles and its own kind of community, its own background. And they want to do it their way. And I think that's great.
So I have a quick question. So I've been in this space about a decade, since about 2011 in crypto. So I've seen, multiple crypto winters, and I've seen, the ICO boom in 2017/18, and then the crash subsequently after that. And, right before we got on, we talked about New York NFT week, which is next week.
Yeah.
And how crazy it is. And then Dee mentioned his whole social media following is going there. Everyone he knows is there. And, what I kind of want to understand and love your view is basically, why is this not the ICO boom bust cycle that we saw in 2017-18? And how can we know that this is kind of the iPhone moment of crypto? So the same way the iPhone, changed mobile forever and created, trillions of dollars of market cap.
Yep.
How are we confident that NFTs could kind of be that catalyst from crypto? And then we have all these different use cases. Obviously, DeFi has been bubbling even before then, and everyone just flocks to money. So right now, every person that wasn't in crypto 10 months ago is in crypto now because of NFTs, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm curious what your view is, since you've obviously been in the space for a while as well. How do we distinguish between ICO boom bust versus kind of NFT mania?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's certainly the case that that a lot of NFTs aren't going to be particularly valuable in the end, and there is lessons learned on ICO to be applied here, and even I think ultimately that the valuation, the kind of big, high liquidity collections are going to behave and track like ICOs do, like tokens do, and so I think that there is a kind of parallel to be had, with kind of trading and liquidity and kind of whatever lifespans, kind of alt tokens will be NFT bundles are kind of analogous to that, but to your point, it is different than the ICO boom, and the ICO boom really was, it was kind of white paper porn, there was just all these kind of like ideas, and whatever, and they're kind of cool or whatever, but there just wasn't the same kind of reality to them. But honestly, NFTs I think are a totally different beast. And I think my personal belief is that NFTs as an application is bigger than cryptocurrency as an application. NFTs are bigger than cryptocurrency because it's about media, it's about ideas, it's about culture. And in the end, people love money, but people are, take their ideas more seriously than money. People die for ideas and die for culture all the time. It's like, life and death and myth and religion and like the whole kind of like human, cosmos is in there, so I think NFTs are for sure bigger than cryptocurrencies. And so that to me is going to, gives it, kind of some, kind of more firmer basis. Yeah. But I think they're going to succeed regardless of the price of ETH, regardless of the price of Bitcoin. And so, now we're in this, and you guys spelled it out perfectly, in this kind of real, kind of this sort of flashy, kind of high profile yachts and Gucci bags kind of phase, which is cool, which is great. But it's going to go in a much more, there's going to be all kinds of other implementations of it, all kinds of other use cases that are kind of all now linked under this heading of utility. So utility is going to be, the big name of the game.
And so what are you working on now? Because you obviously can see the future. I'd love to hear.
Working on, I'm doing some collaborations, some high profile collaborations with people that are coming from mostly from the music industry right now. We'll be talking about those next week at NYC NFT that are kind of cool. They're really cool. And then on the art, on the art side, one of the big ideas that I think, one of the things I think is really, really important is this idea that tokens can drive software processes themselves. The tokens drive software. And so how you link up tokens with software directly is going to be a big field and a big kind of new frontier.
What does that mean?
And so, right now we just have, wallets that connect to web browsers. That's pretty much it. Right. That's how they work. I mean, Ledger, something like that, or like kind of these native crypto clients, they can, that's, kind of, maybe a kind of different kind of thing. But for the most part, especially in the world of Ethereum, people are connecting wallets to web browsers. And so the web browser is the execution environment that responds to tokens. And so what happens if there's other execution environments besides a web browser that you can connect a wallet to? What kinds of things can that enable? More powerful execution environments, more secure execution environments. So I've made an artwork that doesn't get past the web browser, but it kind of shows right now because it's sort of like just like an initial case. It's called Quantum Leap, and the user can connect their wallet, and the token is directly driving. It's a generative artwork, kind of software-based artwork, and so when you've got these Quantum Leap tokens, there's a whole like kind of different range of them. And when you connect your wallet to the site, it's going to deliver you the version of the software that that your token speaks. It's going to provide these essential parameters to the software. And so no token, no art. And when you bring your token, you get your art. with it. And so I think that kind of token integration is going to be a big deal. And so this project that we worked on this summer and did a release with at Phillips Auction House with some of the tokens is kind of an initial step. But we're also working on just thinking about trying to develop other locations where wallets can connect, and thinking about wallets interacting in much more robust software environments. And I think that's a really big deal.
Amazing. So if people want to kind of follow along on your journey, obviously follow your projects, what's a great place to check you out?
So there's two. I mean, on Twitter, I'm McCoy Space on Twitter. And then also, the company that I founded is working on a lot of this stuff, and that's Monograph, MONEGRAPH. And those Twitter. We have a Discord for the company that is that's a kind of a very real time space too. So those are kind of the best things right now, I'd say.
Okay. And last question. You're not giving financial advice, but if you were to buy any NFT right now, what would you buy?
Oh man,
you have an unlimited budget. What would you buy? One piece.
One piece. I don't know. That's tough.
Or what projects do you like that are worth following?
I actually have
Well, hold on. Let me ask my question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of art blocks, and I think the art blocks, that platform, we've seen some great drops come out of there, some great artists, friends of mine, people kind of from the art world, Raphael Rosendahl and Casey Rios, who's there in LA with you all, have done some great drops, and I think that they've got a great pipeline, a great community. Other people are now kind of, fast following in that format that I think is pretty interesting. But I think Art Blocks is just done a really good job, and so that's and their kind of curated platform now is super interesting. So that's definitely a group that I'm a fan of.
Okay, that's good. We're going to go check them out now. I'm sure everyone's searching it right now on their OpenSea.
They just did a cool event. Their founder is down in Houston, and they just did a cool event out in Marfa, Texas. And I don't know, since you guys aren't, kind of coming from the art world, but Marfa, Texas has this whole, it's the middle of nowhere, West Texas, like literally a dot in the middle of nowhere. But it has this whole weird art world connection, because this really famous, really important a guy named Donald Judd went out there in the 60s or late 70s and just bought up all these old derelict military buildings and then turned them into these super kind of austere museum kind of temple kind of things,
Wow.
Just did this whole thing's minimalism. He's the guy that kind of invented minimalism in art. And so he's got this whole just giant kind of art complex. And over time, other little things have kind of, materialized there in Marfa. And so it's a real kind of like, go into Marfa kind of, thing is like art world kind of trek. So I thought it was genius that the Art Blocks people decided to host an event in Marfa, Texas that just happened like a month ago or 3 weeks ago or something.
Oh, that's clever.
So they're doing the right stuff.
Okay,
That's
cool.
great. I have a view, and I'm curious what you think. So if we believe NFTs are going to be as big as kind of you said, it's, you're going to be bigger than cryptocurrency, going to be kind of the pulse of media and culture. In theory, if you believe that, then CryptoPunks are cheap because they're the original Mona Lisa. They're the original paintings. They're the original like artworks that are in the Louvre. So I think at a CryptoPunk's probably like 120, 140 ETH on today's prices, 400,000 or 500,000, something in that range. Yeah. So in theory, if NFTs become that big, those shouldn't be $400,000. They should be tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, maybe. It's possible.
Just from a historic standpoint, not from a NFT art standpoint.
You're talking to a guy who made a bunch of NFTs in 2014, so I have a different view of history.
But you sold one for 1.4 million, so that's probably going to be worth.
I did.
A lot more.
I did. No, and I think that's going to be worth a lot. That's going to continue to go. And there's a whole class of kids that did 2014 NFTs, and we did some on Counterparty too in 2014 and 2015. So I think that there's that early history, but I'm not gonna stand in the way of CryptoPunks. I mean, it's just it is the foundational project. It sets the ground for it, and it's been just who can't just be in awe of watching the kind of value of that whole project go, And so as a kind of media franchise, the total value as a media franchise, it's like, and I don't know what, the last time I checked was when the floor price was way, lower and ETH was lower, but it was like kind of $2 billion. And I'm sure it's close to $10 billion now, something like that. And so for the thought of a completely bootstrapped, kind of kind property that's, was self-produced by two guys, in Brooklyn and self-promote, kind of just in a community kind of grew up organically around it. And now it's worth, whatever kind of, multi-billion dollars, I'm sure it's bigger than, so that's already kind of passing other media franchises. Yeah, it's not Marvel, it's not Star Wars, but I'm sure it's bigger than, I don't know, Hello Kitty. I'm sure it's bigger than other kind of things that everybody knows about in terms of media franchises, And so that is pretty remarkable. And so, to your point, yeah, I'd buy, sure, I'd buy Punk, I could see that. I could see that making sense. Right. But will the, but I just don't know. I don't have a sense, honestly, of it's hard to think about like 10 years from now, will it have diversified away? But but that one is so foundational. It's not gonna go away. So I don't know. I mean, it's certainly going to hold some value. It is a massive store of value, that's for sure.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kevin. Have fun in NFT week in New York. If any of you guys are heading it out, just follow Kevin on Twitter. So maybe you're hosting some cool things to check out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm doing a talk on the 2nd, and there's a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I'll have stuff on my Twitter for sure.
And it's probably going to be streamed live. Can we stream the talk?
I don't even know. It's just. I mean, it's like they have like 600 speakers across 3 venues. It's totally insane. Yeah, it's totally insane. So I don't know. It's all just sort of like it's totally getting built in flight.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It's pretty crazy. So,
awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on everything, and honored to have you on here as the first.
It's my pleasure, guys.
NFT.
Great talking with you, and good luck with the show, man. It's great.
Thank you.
Hey guys, you want to take a quick second to talk about Ledger?
Yes, it is officially the one place for all of your crypto needs because they launched Ledger Live. Not only is it a place to secure all your crypto, your NFTs, but now you can buy and exchange and grow all of your crypto assets all through your Ledger wallet.
Wow. All in one place. One-stop shop.
Yep, one-stop shop now. So you can head over to ledger.com, pick up one of those cold storage wallets. I have the Ledger Nano. That's the popular device.
Nice.
The matte black?
The matte black is right. And in fact, Ian, our resident crypto expert, is actually gonna work with us on creating a number of pieces of content on how to use it properly. So if you purchase it and have questions, look out. We're going to be creating some content with him and his team to make sure that you feel comfortable using it.
Love it. Okay, well, good deal. Go check out Ledger. Everything crypto you could ever wish for.
Yeah.
There you
You
go.
want to keep your NFTs safe? Get a Ledger.
Yes.
All right, back into the episode. Hey guys,
What's going on?
you jumping in the NFT world or what?
I'm getting more and more inclined to. There's some pretty interesting things. I think what all these NFT conversations has helped me realize, I think why a group chat NFT is going to work and why it's going to be very powerful NFT to own. And so we're obviously thinking through that because like we aren't going out there and selling this is an art program. Rather, there will be an artistic element to it, but I think we're talking about access, utility, and that's where I think we'll end up finding like a really awesome solution to like what, if those that are, I have a lot of friends in it, YPO, what does a modern version of YPO, modern version of a networking, lack of a better word, organization looks like?
Yeah. My question is, can I doodle? Like I have some pretty mean doodling skills.
I mean, since we're not pushing as an art thing, yeah, why not? You could just be dramas
I don't know
doodles.
what you mean.
You
What
just
do you
might
mean?
have to doodle 10,000 things.
Are you saying I'm not an artist?
I mean, anyone who doodles is an artist, I guess.
Thank you. So it looks like we are pushing this an art thing. I think we do 9,999 and then I doodle one.
Okay.
I got a mean doodle. I've been doing the same doodle since I was bored in about 5th grade. It's the same guy. And I would love to NFT him.
You know what I do is the 3D box.
Yeah.
And when I'm on the phone and I just need to I can't walk. I like to walk when I talk.
Yeah.
If for some reason I am confined to a space, I literally sit and just do the 3D box over, and then it becomes a triangle 3D. Then it becomes a pentagon 3D. Yeah, just like all of a sudden it's like 5,000 geometric shapes I've done over and over again.
You want to know another interesting piece of information is I wear this little Whoop strap fitness band, and I also am a walker phone talker, and I stopped doing so many video calls so that I could talk on the phone and walk around. But literally, it will register on my Whoop strap as like an activity. Like it's about the same output as like golfing. And so it literally just looks like I have these like 30-minute, hour and a half long like golf sessions throughout the day. But I started tracking them as work calls.
Does it track jerking off?
I guess it depends on what hand you use. You get a lot more of the
Whoopty!
Oh my god! You guys for a second. What'd you say on it?
That's interesting. I don't know how we got from steps to jerking off.
D.
Well, that's pretty much all there is to do in this new age. Okay, well, let me know when you need my doodle. I'm here. I got my Sharpie ready.
Yep.
And I'm prepared to offer it for a one-time limited fee. Speaking of big offerings, shout out to Jason. FaZe Up.
FaZe Up.
FaZe Clan has announced they are going public.
Mm-hmm.
So FaZe the F up, Jason.
FaZe Up.
I mean, these guys, what? They're going to be like, they're going to ring the bell at Wall Street and they're all just going to be FaZe Up.
I mean, that's probably going to be... So FaZe is going public in a $1 billion SPAC deal. It's merging with the B. Riley Principal 150 Merger Corp. As part of the deal, FaZe Clan estimates it can get up to $291 million to help fund its growth. I mean, great fucking move. I mean, what great timing. Because like the stock market today is not and is not just about what are the fundamentals of your business, what are your gross margins. It's so much of it is about hype and
I don't know what all that gibberish you said in the beginning was.
Exactly. So I mean, if Truth Social is
gross
worth
margins,
yeah, they're gross,
disgusting.
And so, when you think about like what happened with the Donald Trump SPAC, that frenzy, and how many billions of dollars were made there.
Can we talk about that? It's already crashed down. So
what's it at?
It's at $58.
It's still way up. It started at $9.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I think people got a little excited because it was at $167, I think, on day one.
I bet you it's more.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it's still worth fucking 5x more than it was a week ago.
Its market cap is hovering around $2-3 billion, which is probably undervalued if you're basically valuing Donald Trump at $2 to $3 billion.
2.2.
His media.
To me, he's worth $10 billion.
I don't know,
half the country vote for him. It's more.
Maybe 20.
His likeness, $20 billion.
I mean, think about how many gifts there are in our like iMessage, WhatsApp. If you search Trump, it's endless.
Yeah.
It's by far the most.
I mean, think about
from a
QAnon.
cultural relevance.
Think about all of it. It's all led by him.
So
FaZe Clan feels cheap at $1 billion.
Interesting stats on FaZe Clan. It's reported that they're doing $50 million in revenue, not profitable. Yeah. So about 20x revenue.
That's cheap.
Cheap. Steal.
And if you think about what are the odds it becomes a meme stock?
Very high.
I mean, look, if when companies go public, there needs to be like, what's your meme possibilities?
Yeah. So look at this. For example, on the running shoe brand. There were 20x revenue at $11 billion, right?
I'd go FaZe all the way over On.
All the
More
way.
people know FaZe Clan than On.
All day.
So like FaZe they have all the professional athletes too, right? Ben Simmons, Kyler Murray,
Yeah.
Nigel Houston's FaZe, Bronny's FaZe.
Ronnie FaZe, yeah.
Think about it. This is good. You have hundreds of people that have the biggest followings on social media that are going to pump this stock.
Yeah.
Pitbulls, Sway Lee, and Offset also FaZe.
We should
love
interview,
Pitbull.
we should have Clinton Sparks on.
Oh yeah, he's early FaZe days.
He's the guy. But I also want to say that the meme stock thing has kind of evolved. So when it happened with GameStop, it was more of like an opportunity that was real, that then went viral, that then chain of events, that then whatever. That will probably happen like almost never again. The new thing though is more like the Doge thing, which is totally different, which is just, it starts to circulate on like TikTok, on everywhere, that this is a hot new coin and this could be that everyone's just searching for lottery tickets. That's what happened with the Trump thing. And everyone just buys at the same time and just pumps up this random thing and hopes to catch the wave and to get out. So I think that the chances of FaZe popping and 10xing in the first couple days is probably like 80%. I'm not saying it
Couple
won't
days.
follow.
I think it's day one, and then it'll probably retract. Right?
I think it'll do the similar thing to Trump stock.
Yeah. And I think it's like, think about this world, right? So FaZe Clan is an intersection of gaming, pop culture, the NFT crypto crowd. It's the first kind of company of its kind to go public. And all the naysayers are coming out saying this team is blah blah blah, that team is blah blah blah.
Yeah, they're missing the point.
They're missing the point. It doesn't fucking
You might as
matter.
well talk about gross margin.
Yeah, exactly. You're gross.
Yeah.
And so what we've realized in high finance, that hype,
Yeah. Properly pronounced.
it's no different than a sneaker drop or a concert or a club at Friday night at Poppy. It's all the same. It's just hype. If you have it, you can make money doing it. And
but I think the important thing, separate from the financial metrics, because it just sounds really scammy the way we're talking. Oh, FaZe Clan's gonna go 10x, but from a media likeness and how much relevance FaZe Clan has to the culture of the youth, it's more than $1 billion.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if you think about how big, I mean, Jason over here is like, he saw FaZe Banks and he thought he saw Michael Jackson.
Pretty much.
Yeah. We gave him a list of people that he would rather see, and there was hardly anyone.
Right.
Hardly anyone.
And you have all these like big time athletes that are also part of this crew. Who else is big in FaZe Clan other than FaZe Banks, separate from the athletes?
Timber, Adapt,
Merckx.
Blaze, Tico, Merckx.
Yeah, I mean, even I know these names.
Yeah.
I'm so like not the demo, and I know all these people.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Look, I think that's also the new phenomenon that happened. Like, it's not even just GameStop. It's also like Tesla and stuff like that. Is with all these retail traders, I think there's been a new valuation on brand, where it was always on fundamentals or on whatever, all the fuckery. But like I'm saying, it was always based on revenue and margin and projected earnings and all these things. Where I don't think that like the old guard ever considered the value of a brand. Where GameStop and Tesla and all these things are so overvalued because the retail traders are valuing what the brand could be. And to your point, yeah, like business-wise, it might not make much sense for FaZe to be worth $1 billion, but brand-wise, it's cheap.
And I also want to make the distinction because the way Wall Street views some of the big software companies, call it, right? The ones that none of us actually like follow, but like a Snowflake, a Datadog, whatnot. This is how Wall Street values these companies.
Yeah.
It's from a brand perspective. It's just a different way of looking at it.
Yep.
They look at the founder and CEO. Oh, this person created that, previous successful technology company. Look at who the investors were across this board. Sequoia, Andreessen, Benchmark, you name all these like brand name investors that got them to the point of the IPO. Do you know what happens after that? You get 150x multiple of revenue.
Yeah.
Because of the brand. It's just the brand on the back end that Wall Street has recognized, and retail has recognized the brand on the front end.
Very true. Because it's the same way, like the legitimate
and
argument.
Offset and Bronny have great brands.
Huge brands. I love
Space
Bronny.
Banks, are you kidding?
Yeah.
But that's actually the distinction, because you're going to see all these dummies go on CNBC and Bloomberg when FaZe goes public, and it's going to be worth $10 billion, and be like, oh, this is ridiculous. This is a joke. Da-da. You know what's a joke? The same way every IPO, just because of who's on the cap table and who the founder is, gets traded at 150x revenue.
Because that's the other thing, right? Is I would say that when it comes to valuing brand in the terms that you're talking about, it's who's on the cap table is also so important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's on the team.
Yeah, who's
That's
behind.
it. It's like, and FaZe, from what we're hearing, has a good team. Temper, Banks.
Great team.
I mean,
Great team.
That's the reason why the GameStop thing actually wasn't that ridiculous from Deep Fucking Value's point of view, is because they did it reverse. He looked at brand first and said GameStop is a household name. And, they just hired, what's his name from Chewy? Was it
on
Chewy?
the board. Yeah. Just former CEO of Chewy.
Yeah, he just made a huge investment and he's joining the board and whatever. This could make sense. Somebody in theory could come save this IP. Whereas Wall Street doesn't think about it that way. But I don't know. I mean, I think this thing's going to pop off big time. Good for those guys.
Good for them.
Big moment, regardless of what happens. Massive moment for the world of gaming.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's there's obviously so many valuable gaming companies, but there was always this conversation around teams and are they worth this much money? And Rusty, who was on last week, who just sold his business to 100 Thieves, they must be salivating. They're like, we got a hot team too.
Yep.
What's up? NASDAQ.
Yeah.
And so you start going down the list. There can't be only 2 teams. There has to be 100 teams.
100 Thieves.
100
Can't be one thief.
Wait, so from a
100 thieves.
so from a cultural perspective, I think you guys would know better than I. Who's bigger, FaZe Clan or 100 Thieves?
My perspective. Yeah. What do you think, Jason?
Because 100 Thieves, Drake's invested.
Yeah.
Nas is invested.
I think if you're talking
Anthony.
industrially, probably 100 Thieves, like in terms of just like presence in the space. But as far as like reach and actual impact, I think FaZe.
So you're saying 100 Thieves actually wins the competition, but FaZe is cooler.
It sounds to me if you go by fundamentals,
Pretty much.
100 Thieves. If you go by brand awareness, FaZe Clan. I think that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's
Like, could 100 Thieves put out a collab at PAX Sun like FaZe Clan does and sell out the first day? I don't think so.
I'm sure they would.
I'm sure they would, but yeah, sorry. If you went speed for speed, I think the volume of FaZe Clan would be bigger. I think the logo, the recognition is a little higher. Not the 100 Thieves is peanuts because kids love it.
So I think my point is that FaZe is just the first of many teams to start monetizing their kind of business, because it's like sports, right? Like, how many multi-billion-dollar sports franchises are there globally? There's a ton.
Yeah.
Every NBA team, every NFL team, every MLB team, every Premier League team, I don't know all the leagues for soccer, but all of them are worth $1 billion.
Easily, yeah.
And so think about how big gaming is.
I think these teams are massively undervalued.
Yeah.
I also think it's great news for the next team that's up and coming, because I think that the amount of people that will now take a gaming team as legit is going to drastically change.
Yeah, if you think about it, who is more relevant from like just a brand perspective? The Florida Marlins, who are definitely probably worth $1 billion, or FaZe Clan?
I could.
Yeah, FaZe Clan.
Jacksonville Jaguars are
probably worth $2 billion.
Yeah. Nobody knows one player on the Jaguars.
Know Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. If you said who's he throwing the ball to, I don't know one person.
And you know who he'd rather be on?
I just named
FaZe
5
Clan.
people on the FaZe Clan.
Yeah, that's true.
And I haven't played a video game ever.
And if you just see the growth of companies like Discord, which are effectively the fans of gaming, right? Like who is the average user? It's just a fan of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this seems like we're just scratching the surface.
I think so.
If you see the explosion in Discord versus like these gaming teams.
Well, look, I would say if you're a young, hungry, or whatever age, hungry person, one potential opportunity, if you know anything about the space, is start the next gaming team. Because I think there's room for a shit ton of them.
Yeah, I think you could have there's going to be thousands of teams.
Yeah.
There's a team called Evil Geniuses. They compete in 3 different games competitively, and they're valued at $250 million. And all they do is like just straight up compete. That's their only like.
And they're not even cool.
I mean, they're really good, so they're cool.
Boring.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're good.
We
I
need to
want them
see
to
you in
be
the
cool.
clubs. I want my esports gamer bottle of tequila to the head.
Yep, with Nigel Houston.
Yeah.
You just described banks.
That's FaZe,
That's
right?
why he's working. That's why his company's going
That's why they're
SPAC.
going public.
Don't forget the little things.
It's true. It's very true. Okay, next up, Tesla. We talked about Elon, potentially one day being able to hit a net worth of $1 trillion via SpaceX. But there's new news. Number one, Tesla itself just passed the $1 trillion market cap point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of, I don't know, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong here, but it seems sort of on the heels of the announcement that Hertz rental cars was going to purchase 100,000 vehicles because they want some electric vehicles in their fleet.
So they purchased 100,000 cars, which is a $4 billion deal. The stock went up like $180 billion because of it.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk is now worth $288 billion. He made $36 billion yesterday. He's $100 billion richer
there.
than Jeff Bezos.
And he
He's
tweeted
shitting
wild
on Jeff
dollar
Bezos,
sign
Yeah.
T1MES, wild times, because he's $1 trillion.
I mean, Jeff
And he did dollar
Bezos.
sign T.
Jeff Bezos stepping down from Amazon pretty much precluded him from catching up to Elon.
Did you see? I mean, the dude's cooking pancakes with Lauren Sanchez. She posted a reel.
Yeah, so I mean that's it.
Oh, really?
Jeff Bezos,
Yeah.
he's tapped out.
Why is he cooking the pancakes?
There's nothing
He
to do.
wants to be normal. He wants to feel what it's like to be a normal guy.
I'll tell you what, he's not the richest man in the world.
Yeah, number 2 has to cook his own pancakes.
Yeah, number 1 doesn't.
Number 1, no chance.
How can you be that buff and ripped if you're eating fucking pancakes?
Dude, the guy's burning calories all day. He's like
Cheat
whooping his face off.
That guy's,
bro.
that guy's connected to a machine at night.
Has to be. You
It's
can't
just
eat pancakes in
doing
your
bicep
50s.
curls for him. He sleeps like
He's
that.
probably working out 2-3 hours a day.
He has a cheat day. I mean, The Rock will post like 50 pancakes that he ate that day.
You're comparing The Rock to Jeff Bezos.
I'm just
They're
saying,
like the same
I'm not saying
person.
if you take the buffest guy in the world and he's stuffing down pancakes, you can have a cheat day. He probably pukes them up afterwards. Who the hell knows? Probably get some surgically removed out of his stomach and some proper calories in place.
Alexa, take out my pancakes.
Yeah. Robot, come dig these pancakes out of my stomach.
But I mean, Tesla is just on a tear. It is now a $1 trillion company. I mean, put it in perspective, Facebook's not even a $900 billion company anymore.
No.
And so Tesla is just on a tear. And the momentum Elon Musk has with Tesla and SpaceX, it's phenomenal. Like $1 trillion is going to happen way sooner than we think. It's
what, 3
just going to be
years?
like, we're going to be, yeah. I mean, like we're going to be sitting here in like 18 months. Oh, Elon Musk worth $1 trillion.
Yeah.
It's like 3.5xing from here is not that crazy.
It's not, forget not crazy. It's likely.
It's likely sooner though.
Let me ask you this. Is there anything that would step in like a government thing or something that would like drastically halt? I don't know what that is, but can you imagine the amount that
No.
society hates billionaires and all of a sudden now you have to deal with a fucking trillionaire? AOC
No,
is just
because
going to implode.
I think because Tesla
Sorry, Tim.
creates so many jobs in the US and manufacturing jobs, and it's electric, so it's like climate change friendly.
He's hitting too many
But they like
trends.
keep him out of their like climate change summits and stuff. They're electric. They kept him out of that because of some union issue or whatever. Like they hate on him big time. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I know exactly
He
what you're
just
talking
checks a lot of progressive boxes, like that a lot of voters care about. For example, like you said, jobs in America, climate change. Like the chip shortage isn't affecting him because he's maneuvered around it. Like all of these things, he had a lot of foresight in, and SpaceX is going to be very important for American pride, national security, all of those things. Like, man, he's got a lot of tailwinds in his business.
So if you just named all the things that he's doing, that's a stressful day. This guy's taking meetings before 10 a.m.
Elon Musk,
For sure. He's not cooking a fucking pancake.
Yeah, so would you rather be the guy cooking pancakes and be worth $100 billion, or the guy that has to work 24 hours a day, stressed out of your mind, and be worth $250 billion?
Well, 288 and 188.
Easy question.
288, 188.
Yeah, you forgot 100 billion and like
Who's counting?
Me personally, I'll cook pancakes and settle with my measly 100 billion. But to each his own.
I mean, Jeff Bezos just make up and go, this motherfucker made $36 billion. I just want to know.
He probably threw those pancakes through the kitchen window. I was like,
are you kidding me? $36 billion.
I'm getting up at 9 tomorrow. I've had enough of it.
You know what? 9:30 my meeting tomorrow, not 10.
I've had enough. Lauren, beat it.
He looks pretty content, Bezos, in all the recent interviews with the Blue Origin stuff. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think I really get the vibe that
he's okay with second place.
Yeah, like I think he's okay with second place, or maybe in his mind there's a longer game that he'll win.
He's not, because he had to make it a point that Blue Origin went a little further than SpaceX's civilian.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he dumps Lauren Sanchez and just goes on a tear.
Goes back to work.
But what about, I mean, shout out to California for just letting this $1 trillion company waltz right out of its state.
That's as stupid as it gets.
Oh my God. I mean, there you have it. Thank you.
And when you think about the number of companies,
I can't believe he left.
He did it.
They forced him out.
Yeah.
The SpaceX headquartered up there?
SpaceX is in Hawthorne. Here in
Hawthorne.
Southern California.
But that's the headquarters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder if he'll move that eventually.
We better keep SpaceX here.
I don't know.
A lot of smart people live in LA because of SpaceX.
I wonder what happens behind the scenes. Because, what we see is that, like, there's kind of this attitude of, like, fine, then all good, leave. You don't pay your taxes, don't. But like, do you think people are, like, is Gavin Newsom, are people, like, calling?
Nah, they're not
Elon?
doing shit. They're morons.
Okay. Moving on. Cameo. You guys know Cameo, the app where it lets people buy like shout outs or happy birthdays or whatever it may be from celebrities or influencers. They have purchased the merch platform Represent, which we're very familiar with. We have a couple of our staff that went to work over there. Great operation. And it looks like they got bought by Cameo. Seems like a good move.
Yeah.
I mean, what? You get a shout out, you get a tee. Get like a Snoop Dogg headshot on a tee and a happy birthday.
And if we just step back, like, how many Cameo type businesses did we hear people trying to start?
Yeah.
I can't believe this worked.
Yeah.
Every time I heard it, like, celebrities are going to come on for $20 and say some nonsense. I'm just blown away that it worked.
And back in my TV days, I tried it and I was like, this will never work. This feels so terrible. I'm collecting, it looks like I'm homeless. Like I'm collecting $20 for like a happy birthday to Edward. And like, it just feels so bad. And I thought it would never work and it worked.
I mean, I think this is another beneficiary of the pandemic. People sitting at home, celebrities sitting at home, bored, or maybe needed money or whatever it was. Like, I think people are, from the talent side, they're more accepting of all these different ways to monetize their talent and their kind of celebrity. And so once that got normalized, you saw like A-list people doing it. You're like, fuck it, I'll do it. What do I care?
I wonder what tilted it that, because there's legitimate stars on Cameo.
Yeah.
What went from like, rest in peace, Dustin Diamond Screech.
Yeah.
He was kind of like one of the early guys where then you have like A-listers. How did it go from that to...
Maybe Cameo just paid those people. Yeah.
I also think the perception changed from I'm struggling for cash to like this is a nice thing to do for fans that everyone's doing. Because the other thing is, at least when I was last on it, if you go on Cameo, we don't know what's going on in Cameo because we're not on Cameo. But if you go on Cameo, a lot of those shout outs show up on like a feed. So you can see that a lot of other people are doing it. So if you see, like if I would have signed up there on day one and it was Snoop and it was this person and that person and whoever the hell is doing it, Matt Damon, I'd be like, oh, no big deal that I'm here. But back in that days, I think it was like me and Snooki. And it felt really bad. And
get Snooki and drama for $30.
$30 partnership package deal.
Buy one, get one. Happy
Pay
birthday.
Snooki and drama's rent. He'll tell you whatever you want.
But I like the purchase of Represent because I think.
Can you explain what Represent is?
Represents it is a merch platform. So basically, if you're a celebrity and you want to build and sell merch, there's a number of companies like Represent that do this. They facilitate the design, the manufacturing, they handle the shipping, they take a percentage, they give the talent a percentage, and rinse and repeat. And
it's full service.
Yeah.
So the celebrity doesn't have to do anything.
Exactly. Just promote it, market it. And so for Cameo, this makes so much sense. They have all the celebrities, and they have celebrities who are willing to monetize their fame. So I'm sure they all of a sudden have conversations with, you find out, oh, this XYZ soap opera star is generating crazy amounts on Cameo. Why don't you sell t-shirts? Why don't you sell coffee mugs? Whatever. It makes a lot of sense.
I have an idea that I think is obvious and really good. And I want you guys to check it out for me. Cameo should do, here's your shout out, $20. And for X fee, we'll make it an NFT.
That's what I thought they would do. I thought they would buy an NFT company.
Yeah. Those should all be NFTs. You should, why not?
For $10, you get the NFT of your shout out.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah, because you know the difference between an NFT and a merch? There's zero cost.
One's going to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no cost. And the value, how people value it is through the roof, way higher than a t-shirt.
Yeah. I think that's their next purchase.
I bet they're working on it.
Yeah.
They seem smart. Okay, last but not least, it is earnings time. And one company in particular that I was waiting for their earnings and really thought that they'd be really bad was Facebook. Facebook Q3 earnings. I'll be honest, I was excited about it, but I didn't listen. I didn't watch the outcome. So is it a bloodbath? I mean, they've had a lot of trouble with the new iOS. They have a lot of trouble in general just with brand perception. I'm guessing Q3, they just got smashed.
So the revenue was up 35% year over year, but it missed expectations.
Oh, what was expectations?
They were short like $500 million.
But like how short were they?
Of what? $500 million.
Oh, they were short $500 million.
Yeah. And so, I mean, they still did like, I don't know, 30-something billion dollars in revenue, just like a gargantuan number. So the fact that they missed it, Facebook is notoriously known for blowing past revenue, earnings. And I don't think that is as big of a concern as just the tone of their earnings call, which was all about metaverse, which is all about investments they're going to make in network infrastructure and cloud and all things gearing up for like the shift in their business. They also don't really break out all their, they usually used to break out all their by platform, by like demographics, like daily active users. They are losing young people. And Mark Zuckerberg admitted it on the call that we need to be more youth focused and not be catering to old people anymore. So I think he knows that he's not going to win those people back on Facebook and Instagram, but he can get them all back on Oculus.
Do you think that's my bet. Such a long play? Like if that goes wrong and they neglected to pay attention to the youth for that long, they're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's tech. It happens fast. Like next thing you know it, everyone's, you know, like using Oculus for everything. It could just happen so fast. And I think like Do we really think you're going to ever get young people back on Facebook? No fucking chance. They're never coming back. So just call it a loss and move the fuck on.
Well, they won't come on Facebook proper, but they'll come on if they create some sort of metaverse social network, right? That's
but not
effectively
called
the point.
Facebook.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's where Oculus
like
comes to
they
play.
already know there's 0 teens signing up for Facebook. They are signing up for Instagram. They are using Snapchat and TikTok more than Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, Zuck effectively admitted it on the earnings call.
Yeah.
And he said TikTok is the most fierce competitor they've ever seen. And I think he's... Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is actually a perfect example where I feel like, I mean, it's impossible. They're a $900 billion company. But if they went private, didn't have to deal with earnings because they are still a money-making machine, and you let Zuck in the lab without having to do earnings calls every quarter and worry about a stock price, he would figure it out.
And by the way, you need no government regulation.
I think you could allow him to build.
You also have to,
No, but like if you had this money machine, because the money machine is going nowhere in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
But if you gave him 5 years to figure out how to take over teens, he would figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think he goes
internally.
I
Because
think.
no one's going to let him buy.
Yeah. I mean, why can't he buy like Dapper Labs or something?
I bet you would get blocked. That's already going to be a $10 billion acquisition.
Yeah. But it's not anything in their core business today.
Doesn't matter. Facebook's the one unifying thing in Congress. Both Republicans and Democrats hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the trick. Like of all these things that are big or possible monopolies or whatever, like Facebook is the most hated by far.
Yep, especially among politicians.
I mean, Google just released their earnings, smashed it. They're letting YouTube and Google ads do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
YouTube is a scary place. So I was bored on Sunday night and it was too late to like put on one of the hot shows because I wasn't going to make it through.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'll just go on YouTube. And I clicked like one Joe Rogan clip of him talking about the vaccines. And the next 10 suggested videos, I was like, this is so easy to get brainwashed. It was Fox News, Ben Shapiro. It was like, it just went boom, 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 boom. And it was auto replay into this stuff.
YouTube really gets off the
perspective.
hook. Like when we talk about algorithms and shit and the damage they do, no one talks about YouTube really.
Let me tell you something about YouTube here. YouTube did $7.2 billion in advertising revenue in the third quarter. Netflix, which is a paid service, did 7.5 in the same quarter.
Wow. YouTube is a beast. I don't feel like YouTube gets that much scrutiny, or maybe I'm wrong.
Honestly, it's because
it doesn't.
The smart thing the Google founders
There's no
did
face.
Is they put, the soft-spoken, nice Indian man as their CEO that's likable. And he's harmless. He's, likable and like goes in front of Congress and plays a dance. I guarantee you if Sergey and Larry were the CEOs, it would be a very different fucking business.
And honestly, like the fucking wakeboarding and the surfing, that goes viral.
I think the worst thing
pissing
that
off some Congress guy. He sees that like, fuck this guy surfing and wakeboarding while, we can't figure out what the hell his platform's doing to us.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that ever happened to Zuck was The Social Network. Like that movie was too much of a hit. That made him an absolute celebrity. He might have been able to like, he'd have the press as like the youngest, whatever, but like he might have been able to kind of remain a little obscure. None of those guys are nearly as famous as Zuckerberg.
I bet you if you asked every single member of Congress in the House and the Senate, 75% have never heard of Sergey and Larry.
I would say that's right. 75%.
Yeah, you're right.
They just never heard of them, don't know who they are. They don't know who founded...
they wouldn't be able to tell you who the CEO of Microsoft is, which is twice as big of a company.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't. I would say the only person comparable to Zuck is Bill Gates. And he's not actively...
Elon, right? Elon.
True. Sorry, I'm talking more like social media.
Target, yeah.
But how does Elon get away with mocking everyone?
Because you know why? He's selling a product that isn't effectively ruining people's lives.
It's actually enhancing.
Yeah.
Both of them. When you're selling electric cars and a trip to escape the earth when it crumbles, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You're targeting QAnon videos to fucking moms in the Midwest. You're fucked, buddy.
Yeah.
I would go as far as 90% of Congress wouldn't be able to say the CEO of Microsoft. And it's I'm going to check right now. $1.6 trillion company?
There's no way they could.
I mean, he's been to Congress, so Satya's been to Congress.
They'd be like, who's that brown fellow?
Yeah, they don't. They're like, oh, that guy from Snapchat was nice. I like him. That's Spiegel.
Yeah, there's an Indian doctor in my neighborhood.
$2.33 trillion company.
Yep.
So it's 2.5 times the size of Facebook.
Yep. No idea.
And no congressperson can tell what their core revenue is.
What the fuck they do?
They have no idea what they do. What are their growing business segments?
Yeah.
Who's the CEO? And we are entrusting them to figure out tech regulation?
Yeah.
This is a joke.
I think Zuck has to do some sort of public. He's got to do a public, step down as CEO. Technically, I think he's too famous. There's too much of a target.
You're right, but
I'm not saying operationally, because obviously he's the genius. But I'm just saying, like, it's too much. You can't have. You're getting your ass kicked in with young people. You're constantly getting pressed by Apple and that with privacy. And you are enemy number one when it comes to big tech. Nobody is more hated. How can you dig out of that combo?
Yeah.
I agree.
By the way, I didn't realize I'm reading a book right now called An Ugly Truth about Facebook, which is why I'm so fired up. What I didn't realize is that Zucks is really like the genius behind like growth and like meaning user growth and like product. And Sheryl Sandberg is the one who like built and came up with the advertising strategy. So like a significant piece of this privacy issue and the way that we target people and the way that we whatever is Sheryl Sandberg's doing.
Wow.
Lean out.
Cheryl.
I thought she was like just like a personnel, good,
Like a face.
like a good vibes type of person. She came in to really build their ad product.
That's wild.
And
Did
where
you
is
guys
she?
know that? Oh,
I
she's
didn't
in
know
there.
that.
She's in there just fucking cranking away on. I mean, this book is pretty good, but she's in there cranking on how they continue to target people better. She also is like way more than Zucks. She's connected like politically.
Yeah.
So like any of their like lobbyists or that stuff were all brought on by her.
So do you think Cheryl just like, you go to Congress, get your lashings. I'll make sure we keep targeting people and sending them.
Yep. You go take
Yeah.
your beating. You go be the face. I'll make sure we're all good on the back end.
Keep
I didn't
surfing.
realize. Yeah, you go surf.
So-
Make sure you wear enough sunscreen.
I mean, just to pile on to Mark Zuckerberg's kind of
Yeah, you might
weekly
as well.
challenges.
Yeah.
He, Daily Mail just alerted me, Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla are being sued by former House staff over a toxic workplace at their family office. They claim they were victims of racist and homophobic abuse by the office's former head of security.
Yeah, it's one of those when it rains it pours type of things, man. I think anyone who has a grievance is going to lay it on now.
Yeah.
It's gnarly. I don't know
Yeah.
how he digs out of this one, to be honest. I know that he's a genius. I know all that, but I think if you look at a snapshot today, he's at like the mountain of a challenge that he's facing is pretty nuts.
He needs to do the Tom Brady. Tom Brady was like the most hated guy, then got good on Instagram, good
Yeah.
on social media,
Yeah.
and was like, made everything fun, and now everyone loves him.
Yeah, I think it's embracing culture is a big part of it. So like Tom Brady posted on his Twitter or Instagram yesterday.
And he distanced himself from Trump.
Yeah. And so I'll tell you all the right moves Tom Brady did in the last 48 hours. He throws his 600 touchdown pass as a professional quarterback. Whoever caught it gave the ball away to a fan. The
Mike
Bucks,
Evans, yeah.
Yeah, so gave it away. So the Bucks end up making a deal with him, offering him season tickets for the rest of the season, giving him some store credit and some whatever bullshit of a number of things. Then Tom Brady is one of the faces of FTX, one of these huge crypto trading platforms. Goes, hey FTX, why don't we throw him a Bitcoin? That guy.
Yeah.
And FTX, obviously, great publicity stunt, says, sure, we'll give him a Bitcoin. So that obviously makes Tom look like amazing of a human being to that community.
Yeah.
Second, he posts his video. He always posts like a recap or like, hey, great game by the team, great defense, great job by scoring touchdowns, whatever, complimenting his teammates. And then the background song, because they beat the Bears was it in Chicago?
It was in Tampa.
It was in Tampa, but they beat the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
He plays a Chief Keef song in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just like to...
And then on top of that, in the same day, there was a kid with a sign that said, Tom Brady, help me beat cancer. And he runs over after the game and gives him a ball.
Yeah.
And the kid starts bawling and crying.
He traveled around the country and had weird, awkward dinners with like people in fucking Plano, Texas.
I forgot about that. When was that?
That was like 2 years ago.
3 years ago. That was him trying to be like human. He'd be like with a tractor in the background.
Yeah, relatable.
All you gotta do is have a video, be nice, play a little rap music, throw a crypto, buy some FaZe stock, and everyone
honestly, I think the equation's so simple for people under 30. If you want to be relevant for people under 30, it's gaming, crypto, streetwear culture.
Rap.
NFT.
Streetwear culture.
Yeah.
No, but that's crypto. So it's all encompassing.
Right.
So it's crypto,
You're right.
gaming, streetwear culture.
In 1 week,
Rap.
if
You put rap and streetwear
Zuckerberg...
culture just...
Look,
Yeah. I said rap's part of streetwear, NFT's part of crypto,
Yeah.
gaming's bigger than ever.
Love it. You're right.
if I'm Mark Zuckerberg's PR person, if they're listening right now, I'm going to give you the 1 week shift in his perception. This is what you do.
Yep.
You go buy a punk and a Bored Ape. You show up at an NFT meetup next week in New York City.
Yeah.
Then you go to a Moneybag Yo concert.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when
You gift the CryptoPunk to someone in the audience.
Yes.
And then,
like how Tom Brady gave
Yeah.
and
the
then you
kid.
instruct
Grow
your
the
family
USB.
office to buy 10% of the float of the FaZe Clan.
Yep.
1 week, you are loved by children.
Yes, that's how you get
It's so
regain the
fucking
youth,
easy.
regain
Yeah.
the teens.
And don't do anything else until I tell you what next to do.
Literally.
Okay?
Like if Zuck was on his earnings call doing the phase up.
Yeah. He was like, yo, we're
And
just...
by the way, phase up,
over here.
bitch.
And we're
Fuck
kind of
out.
saying this tongue in cheek, but I'm not joking.
No.
He needs to, like, from a cultural standpoint.
He's young. He's a young man still. You should be at a Moneybag
Like,
Yo concert.
if Elon played Call of Duty or whatever the fuck the game is with FaZe Banks, like that was something Elon, I feel like, would do. And he further entrenches God complex.
Yeah.
Well, and for the record,
Right?
Elon openly talks about how he does play games. I don't know which ones, but he says like, oh yeah, I play games and these are my favorite ones. And whatever it is, it's legit enough that all the gamers are like, oh, he's one of us. But he's talked about that before.
It's like the publicity stunt Drake did early
Ninja.
on with Ninja.
Yep. I agree. Look, Zucks could jump on tomorrow and play around at gaming with FaZe fucking swag to announce or to celebrate the IPO. Have some Moneybag Yo playing in the background. Be like, oh, sorry, let me turn that down. Oops, I left Priscilla, forgot to turn the music down. It's Moneybag Mondays over here at the Zuckerberg house. Yeah, I agree. I think it is that simple, but I think if you really look at the challenge this guy has, and then look, I mean, you got to believe in the next 2 years, 3 years, there's some sort of like content piece that comes out against them. So like, there's either like a Bitcoin, like a Winklevoss, a part 2 to Social Network. I've heard that they're making something around this book that I'm reading. Like, I think there's probably a lot of content coming down the pipeline that's anti-Facebook.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right.
That's why he just needs to change his public perception. I don't think it's a
Hit us up,
crazy
Zuck.
ask. Yeah.
We can help.
Come on group chat and we'll
On
walk
group
you
chat,
through how to be
smoke a
cool
joint.
to youth. Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. Let's wrap it up. Seen on social. What have you guys seen on social media in the last week that everyone needs to know about?
Yeah. So I put it in our topics. We kind of ran out of time here, but Sequoia put out a memo on how they are looking at their fund and how they want to structure their investments going forward. The long and short of it, everyone's going to applaud them that they're such geniuses and whatever. Basically, they realized there's a shitload of money to be made in the public market. So before, these funds had time horizons and expectations from LPs to return money and return profits. And they used the example of Square, which I think IPO'd at a $2.5 billion valuation and is now worth like $70 billion.
Yeah.
So you're talking 30x was made in the public market. And, you know, most of the original investors probably did not participate in all of that upside. Yeah. And so I think it's similar to like what a Tiger Global is doing. And a lot of these other people have already realized like, we'll make these outsized bets in early stage tech because we have no problem holding it till they go public and make even more money, because the public markets now are rewarding like the private market. Yeah. We've never had these returns before.
No, so I think to explain kind of dynamics of how all these funds work today and what Sequoia realized over the last 5 to 10 years. So typically, Sequoia, any of these funds, Andreessen, they invest in these private companies, and the way investors get money, their returns, is on a liquidity event. What's the liquidity event? It's either you get acquired by another company, and if it's a public company, you now get their shares, or you get bought with cash, or you get bought by another private company, or you go public. So the issue, and this happens like across the board with every tech IPO, as soon as that 6-month lockup, for the most part, the funds are required, because they've already held this investment for north of 5-6 years, whatever the number has been, to automatically distribute their shares to the LPs. Yeah. And if you're Harvard endowment, you're the Ontario's teacher, you're already up 30, 40, 50x, and you're like auto sell because you're like, I'm not a fund manager that is trying to time the market, and I don't have a view if Snapchat's going to be bigger than Facebook. I made my money and I'm out. And what they've noticed is two things happen. These LPs auto sell all these companies, creators the stock. So then there's this whole cycle of the stock gets created because there's all this selling pressure, and all the public market investors realize that. Then the companies basically over time have to show like, we are world-class and we beat every quarter. Our data shows it, and there's no end in sight of our growth. And Sequoia is basically like, we've left so much money on the table by distributing these shares to LPs immediately because they auto sell. Yeah. Let us be the stewards of the capital. Let us decide which are the world-class companies that are public that we should hold, which ones should we sell. And they're basically they've told LPs, we're now taking that decision out of your hand. If you want to invest, you're trusting us to make the decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to be Sequoia level of success. Sequoia is arguably the greatest fund ever, and from a private venture tech standpoint, and LPs aren't going to say no to them. Whatever your terms are, Sequoia will give you as much money as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think Sequoia is basically like, we're better at deciding when to liquidate rather than having it in a dock.
Yep. I agree. Okay. It does seem like, is this unprecedented, the amount of growth that's happening in the public markets?
It has to be. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. If you just think about how many trillions of market cap is, just since the pandemic, right?
Yeah, but isn't the fact that it's concentrated, like mainly in tech and in these different areas, mean that like, even though, yes, the market as a whole has been on a crazy run for the last however many years, but like there are some concentrated wins that are like insane. Like what you were saying with Stripe or whatever that was, Squarespace. What was that?
Square. Yeah. but it's just across technology broadly, right? Like, and that's what these people invest in. So, imagine like the person that like, I don't know, I'm sure if Sequoia was an early stage Google investor, they probably saw that company and were like, this is going to be generational. Yeah, why did we sell our Google stock?
No, but in their memo, they were forced to.
Yeah.
Because you distribute the shares to LPs, and they sold out of Google.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But they knew when they invested in Google, this was a generational company.
Exactly. So they said, had they held their public, the companies that went public for just 12 months, forget 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they would have generated an extra $8 billion in returns.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Well, it seems like common sense, but I understand why it works the way that it works.
But it'll only be the most elite investors.
That's a
average
trust
investors
thing?
aren't going to. Yes, because they're like, we trust you as Sequoia to decide when to sell after these companies go public. Whereas small investors, investors will be like, fuck you, we want a return.
But why would you trust someone to invest in the first place in a company that's going to grow and not trust them once it's now public that it's going to continue that growth?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, isn't it the same exact thing?
100% agree, but investors get antsy. Investors
It's just looked at as the finish
liquidity.
line.
They want liquidity. They want cash. Because you got to realize most people have traders mentality, whereas like I think and like incredible investors like Sequoia basically are like, we're investing generationally. Because if you think about it, it's like the running thing. You put $1,000 in Apple 20 years ago, you'd be worth $10 million, whatever that number is.
Yeah.
No person would have put the $1,000 and waited till it went to 10 million.
Yeah.
They would have sold that at 20,000, 30,000, 40,000.
Yeah.
And I think that's how 99% of investors think. And then you have these like exceptional ones that know which are the generational companies that let them ride.
Got it. Okay, love it. What about you, Anand?
As seen on social, is more like kind of a broad theme that Formula One has finally kind of cracked the US, it feels like.
Really?
I feel like after the Netflix special and then leading up to Formula One Austin this past weekend, it just seems like culturally Formula One matters in the US and people are following it. Like Bootsy Bellows had a pop-up in Austin.
Yeah.
And Travis Scott was there. Chainsmokers were there.
I think it's all 100% due to Netflix.
Yeah.
That's the power of Netflix. That F1 series that they released made it so popular in America. Netflix is like such a barometer of culture and where things are going. And it's crazy. Like we talked about last episode, Netflix's impact on SpaceX and then Netflix's impact on F1. Like F1, I don't know what the deal is, but SpaceX should pay for that content. F1 should have paid for that content. If I'm the Major League Baseball, like go to Netflix and say, hey, we have $30 million. Can you help us make us a show that people care about
cool.
baseball?
Make us cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
But it feels like Formula One was massive internationally for forever, but for some reason it feels like it matters in the US for the first time.
Yeah, and I was talking to our friend Kevin Weatherman. He went out to F1 for Austin, and I was like, oh, when did you get into F1? He's like, Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is
I
that
think
enough people just got newly really rich that they're looking for like rich guy activities.
Okay.
And F1 is a good rich guy activity.
F1's a great rich guy activity.
Very
I think
rich.
you're like, look, I'm
F1's
too rich
rich.
for like, the old baseball, the old Dodger game.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
F1
think
rich.
about how rich F1 is, like the Monaco race,
Yeah.
the best seats are you have to have a yacht.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
think
how expensive, how rich do you have to be to have a yacht in Monaco at the first place?
I got two of my
During
yacht for 200 grand.
During Formula One to have the yacht at the track, I'm sure there's docking fees that are probably insane.
That's
my theory.
Well, you have to have a yacht first.
that is my theory. Mine, I think the thing that's here on the top of my feed that's really interesting is apparently, I don't know the super details, but apparently one of the main trans activists that was like leading or speaking out at the protest against Chappelle, they've now uncovered she has like a whole slew of like old racist tweets.
Ooh.
So now there's like the activists on activists, sort of issue going. So I don't know where this leads, but it seems juicy. Because it sounds like someone was, the canceler became the canceled. It seems like in about 2 days.
That's why you got. If you're gonna poke your head out, you better be ready for what's coming.
Yeah.
If you want to be a canceler, you better delete all your social, all your emails, everything.
For real, because they're coming for you. Because now,
I welcome everybody. I cancel no one.
Yeah, we don't need anything being digged up on us.
Don't cancel or you're fine. So anyway, I just thought that was juicy. It's here on the top of my feed. I thought it was some good stuff.
Yeah, that is good.
Okay, that's all we got?
Yep.
Okay, any shout outs?
We do have some shout outs, and I would like to take full responsibility. We missed a few last Thursday, and then I forgot to read them over the weekend.
Not
apologize.
surprised. Sloppy Jason.
I apologize.
Yeah, sloppy. Okay.
All right.
Hit us.
And I've been requested to read them. This one's from Anjana Das, who says, "Hey guys, I want to wish my son Arjun a happy 25th birthday on the 23rd. We're so proud of him for having the courage to move to LA and pursue his career in the entertainment industry. He introduced me to your podcast, and I can honestly say that I've learned a lot about crypto and not as skeptical."
Wow, nice. Welcome to LA, Arjun. We have our own Arjun too.
Yeah.
Welcome to the squad. Welcome to the LA fam.
Ibby Wilson, who says, "Hi guys, my husband is completely obsessed with your podcast. Every time we get in the car, it's playing. He's been getting your Menlo sets for years now, and he tried so hard to meet for your group run when you were in when we were in California this past spring. Unfortunately, we live in Burlington, Vermont, so the next time we're out there could be a while. It's been a tough year for us. After losing his dad unexpectedly this past March, I've been searching for ways to bring him happiness when I can. His birthday's on October 23rd, but whenever you could do a shout out, I would appreciate it. He would completely lose his mind. He wishes you were his friends and is always inspired by your stock conversation."
Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday.
He says, "Thanks to your help, this year we have made an extra 15K.
Wow.
We take a
And
percentage
thanks
of
in-
that. I don't know if you heard.
Our DAO will now take 25%.
And then thanks in advance for helping to make my certified crypto boy smile again, even if it's just for one day." His name is Ibby Wilson.
That's amazing.
Happy birthday, Ibby.
Happy birthday, man.
Congrats.
That's great.
That's what we got.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely love it. That's all we got, right? Is there anything else? Shout outs? No, we're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
Thank you guys. Everyone have a great rest of your week, and we will see you Thursday.